So I thought I'd do a video on my solution to chapter 3, which is the radiant induction coils and inductive mechanisms. The trick with these is you need to detonate TNT with a singularity and ender dust in the radius. The way I've done that is I use a fan and underneath TNT to blow the TNT up 8 blocks. So even though this whole thing is made of glass, everything is out of range of the explosion, as long as the explosion happens up there. Now, the bottom is kind of protected because it's covered with water, and the water is what I use to distribute the items for absolutely no good reason except it looks cool. Now, this is the first time I've run this without chunk protection because you need that to have chunk loading. So we'll see if this blows up and causes any damage. But in any event, let's go over how things are supposed to work. So you can use Computercraft to move items into inventories, and you can also use it to track inventories. And I end up writing scripts for this, and strangely enough, in some ways it's easier. But the whole block is hooked up with computers, and that handles all of the production lines. Because, I mean, you know, that's what you do in a video game for fun. In any event, this mechanism here is all to prevent backstuffing and to make sure that exactly 12 of each are distributed to all of these dispensers, and that all 24 are taken care of by a single explosion. So from that standpoint, it's efficient. And for the crafting part of this, I'm also using a computer, and these modems insert into each inventory. This computer doesn't talk with that one. It just watches this barrel and will keep it full of a stack of TNT and crushing wheels. This is also addressable by modem, so anything that I need that needs something crushed can just send it to here. The script that does that is on this one, and when the TNT is going to explode, that little light comes on. So let's explain the interlock just for a little bit. So this goes off when the cycle is complete, and that resets these two latches. These NOT gates essentially act as a falling edge detector. So when this comes on, nothing happens. When this goes off, then this signal is turned off. Right now, this AND gate, right? Yeah, it's just an AND gate. Right now, these are not receiving a signal, so these funnels are free to go. When they get a signal, this is suppressed, so it can't put any more. And it'll do 12 at a time from there. When it gets pulled into this one, this does the same thing. Once it's pulled in, this will send a signal. Now, if there's no TNT, the signal is stopped here at this AND gate. Otherwise, we wait 8 seconds and generate a pulse. This pulse is what triggers all of the dispensers. Then 5 seconds later, we ignite the TNT. The TNT moving up is just pushed by this fan. This fan is always on. Once this gets a redstone signal and the TNT is lit, then the TNT becomes an entity and it can fly out. And by that point, hopefully all the ingredients are sitting on top of it and not moving horizontally. Once this flies up, this deployer is always running. It's always trying to put a block there. But it's been slowed down enough that this has time to explode, and then this gets placed, then the product falls down. This triggers this vacuum hopper to pull it out of there, and it goes on through the rest of the processing. So here we go, fingers crossed. I'm going to set it up. I'm so confident. I'm going to set it up to do 6 cycles of 24 each. This is where I blow up my base. So this checks a number of things to make sure that it's there. It refills the bone meal for the dye factory, and in a few seconds, once it's done crafting those singularities and they've distributed, there we go, and they all fall in. Here's where we find out if we're all far enough away. What do you know? It worked. So once those get plopped down in there, they get processed. Let's see how close we are to another batch. Here we go. Another batch is going through. And you can see falling edge, 8 seconds. Ooh. They all go in. Fly up to here. What do you know? All the glass is safe. And then they get picked up. So the rest of this, by the way, long fall boots, fairly easy to get, and you can put double jump on them. Very useful. Like my favorite item in the game so far. In any event, this is just a flower farm. This doesn't have any bone meal because it's being suppressed by this link. I just love watching this. And down they go. So they get crushed here. I use a sorting table here. Each color comes out and goes through the correct number of drains. Everything gets separate drains, and this lets you handle a fairly large number. This has been very reliable. I've only had 2 black paintballs. Both of those black paintballs, by the way, were caused by not having a chute here. Sometimes it can get a little glitchy with the way it stacks. So this processes all of these. And I did one other thing the deliberately hard way. I'm using torches. So I went to fight the Wither, and I used kind of underpowered gear, and I tried to fight it in the overworld, and it kept on shooting birds, and every time it shoots a bird, it heals. So eventually I grew frustrated, and I said, you know what? Rather than combat, this is an engineering pack. So this keeps up with production, does a really nice job of it, and I like having the extra size, the extra processing that we have here rather than a simple beacon. Anyone can do a beacon. And we can see the light's still on, so some are still to be processed. We have one more group in the buffer, and that just cleared, so there they go. It's kind of depressing how often I like to watch this. But I mean, there's kind of an engineering reason for it. they go. And the light is out. So I do have to have a fair amount of torch production to keep up, but if there's any interest in this, maybe I'll do a few other videos on some of the other builds that I have here. But I've been having a ton of fun with this pack, and figured I would contribute something to YouTube's. Every year I do a YouTube video. Okay,